Hello everybody. I figured I should do something really special in this one because to redeem myself for all my chicken stories, I just wanted to, for those of you that don't know what I'm talking about, I've done a Facebook Live talking about chickens and it was a bit random. So what I'm going to do today is, and this was really interesting because these dies are not in any collection. These are what we call our weblet exclusives. So they're specially for you guys. And I was looking at them and thinking, you know, it's good when stuff like this happens because it makes me really start to think and challenge my crafting. And that's what I've had to do with this, because this collection that I've got for you is, well, they're fabulous dies individually, but I want to make them all go together and I want you to see how I'm going to do that. So first of all, I've got a dog lead and dog collar. Oh gosh, these are adorable. I mean, you just need them. Look at the dog lead, and then the dog collar is just it's just great. I need these. I'm going to have them hanging in the shed. They're just going to be great. So I've got dog leads and dog collars. That's the first one, and that one is called. Oh, I can't remember what we called this one. Let me have a look for you because I've got it on this one. It was called Lead On. So I think that was Jess or Sophie's name for that one. Then we've got the wireless, and I love this because this is just a good old-fashioned wireless. So you can imagine this on the floor, being by a field, by the stonework, because they might be having a picnic the other side of the field. They might be rebuilding the stonework, so the workmen have got it. You can imagine this with a little robin sitting on the top of it, listening to the music, singing along. I just think that is just going to be such a clever little die. So there's that one. One of my favourites is this nested image die, and the reason that I like it so much is it's an old tin, and I got a tin like this of my grandma's, and you've got the lid and the tin, and then what we've done is we've made the artwork on the front of the tin look a little bit blurry, so it's a bit old. So you'll notice how the top of the tin and all of this is really sharp and around the lid, but then when you get to where the people are, oh, I forgot to say hello. Hello everybody, sorry, I'm just completely distracted with all this stuff I want to show you. And you've got all these sort of like old watery image that's great, but it's like allotment and gardening. So I love that one, so that's there. And then we've got all the bugs and critters. So I've got little bumblebees. I love the bright blue butterflies. We have got a caterpillar in here. We've got the snail. The snail's my favourite. And some other little creatures that are there that are just going to be great amongst the soil in the allotment, under plant pots, all that kind of stuff. You know what, to make some cards going forward where if you lift something up underneath it, there's something inside, and they're going to be some fun stuff to have. So I was there thinking, right, I've got all of these. So this is how many of the tins that you've got. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 different sizes. You've got the dog lead, and so that's just the one, because that's just the one biscuit, of course, from the biscuit tin. Then we've got lead on, which is the dog lead. You've got all your little critters, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of those, and they are called little critters. And then wireless. Now, putting all of those together as one story is quite an interesting challenge. And I was like, right, okay, what can I do to teach you something? And then I thought, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to make a shelf. So I'm going to go inside to the shed and make a shelf. So I've got this free download for you. And this is just like some wooden paneling. So it's just your wood paneling, okay? And then these are my practices to make sure that I could make it work. And I've worked out what we're going to do. So it's going to fit into it's just under 6 by 6 in size when it's finished. So I think you're going to want an envelope. Probably I would go 7 by 7 because we're going to put quite a bit on it. So you want a little bit of extra space. So the first thing that I'm going to do is cut a back that's 6 by 6. Now, I'm not going to do perfect measuring, but of course at home you will do because you're really good and I'm not. And I'm going to go to there. So as I go along, I'm just going to check this. I'm also going to need a step. So I'm just going to take off the bottom of this piece. It'll all become clear in a few minutes. And then to make sure that I cut these level, I'm lining up the white one with the one underneath. And I'm just going to check that that's there and then trim that through. So they are exactly the right width now, so the same width. So I think that step's going to be too deep, but we'll worry about that in a minute. And this is the back of the card. Now the next thing you need is you need another piece of card that's the same width, but without the white borders. So my printer puts white borders on. I don't know whether yours does or not, but I take them off to start with because it makes it easier for me. And then I need that width, and I'm just going to use this because I'm not measuring it perfectly, so I'm going to use this to make sure that it's as accurate as it can be. And get you there. That should do it. Okay, so let's see. Yep, perfect. So a front, a back, and a step to make this piece. So we need a shelf. So first of all, am I going to make the step first? No, I'm going to make the shelf first. So I'm just going to use this piece of card, and I need to give you some measurements, don't I? So let me decide on some. Let's see how wide this piece is. Right, 4 inches. Right, so I'm going to measure 4 inches from this end to here. And in fact, if I do that, I'm going to use my cutting mat. So I'm just going to use that, pop that on the end there, and then turn that over. And I'm just going to use this to score. So that's my first score line. Then I'm going to go 1 inch and make sure that that is level, which is there. Then we're going to go 1/4 inch. Just going to make sure that's enough. Yeah, 1/4 inch. Okay. And then another inch. There. Okay. Hello everybody. If you're just joining, I'm making a shelf card. I'm sort of making it up as I go along, but I think it's going to work. I did a bit of practicing with the concept and it definitely works. So I'm just pushing into that score line so you can see where it is there. I'm now holding down this edge to make sure it's absolutely flat, and then using my thumbnail to act as a scorer. So that's the first score line. If you score in like that, the cardstock won't crack. If I do it this way on the printer that I'm using with this card, I will get a crack, and I'm going to show you what happens here. So I'm just going to line that up, and let's go down here with my thumbnail. In fact, I'm going to scuff it a little bit, but you can see it's sort of, I've got one where it hasn't cracked at all and one where it has. So depending on whether you make mountain or valley folds, that actually determines whether your card cracks. Now, I don't mind it cracking at all because I want this to look quite vintage, so I don't mind if it's a little bit distressed. Right, now, in the middle, we've got 2 more lines that we need to get. So remember, they were the ones that are 1/4 inch apart. So I'm going to put that there, hold that nice and firmly, and get that one in. And then my 1/4 inch one there. I'm just going to line that piece up, and over you go. Come on, that's it. Keep going. Just get that started at this end. If you've got a scoreboard, use your scoreboard, but you know, I craft a little bit like I sew. I love my tools and equipment, but when I get a bit excited about a project, I tend just to do it roughly. Okay, I'm really liking the way that that's scuffed up a little bit. Remember, if you do it the other way, it won't scuff up at all. Okay, so what we've got now is we've created our shelf. So that's the first part of our card. The next part is we need a stepper, but this distance from here to the end where I fold it has got to be 6 inches, okay? So I'm just going to push this under my cutter and look at where my 6-inch point is, which is there. So just keep that in mind. And I'm going to fold that up and it'll go just underneath that shelf, like that. So that's the first part of it. And then the next part of it is to fold that down in half. So shelf, then you can see this piece is coming down in half. I'm just going to check that. So let's have a look at it all. So there's my step and my shelf. Now, I did think when I cut this originally, can you remember I said I needed a piece for the stepper? I think this might be strong enough as it is. So if it is, I'm not going to do anything with it. But what I do know is I need this on the back, because this piece, which is going to go there, is actually going to be my card back. So you can see it's like that. But the other thing is, I can put my shelf completely together like that. That's going to make this less than 6 inches. I'm going to have it so it's just slightly open, because then the shelf will have some depth. So to do that, and I'm going to have my card opening this way, so it's going to be supported like that. So first of all, I'm going to need to make a score line along here for where the spine is of the card. So I folded it the other way because I don't want this one to crack. So you see how clean it is. Then this is going to sit across here, and I've got to make sure that I've just got that quarter of an inch there as my opening, okay? So we're going to do that. Let me think about what I'm going to use for glue. So I must have something really good in here somewhere. Let's have a little look. And I know I've got tons of stuff, but never the right stuff. So let's just see what we can get. Okay. Both. Somebody's gone to get some. Right, so this is going to be the shelf, this is going to be the card, and it's going to work like that, okay? When you put this together, make sure that, first of all, when you're looking at your shelf, you get the card to open up the right way, because mine would have just opened up and been an Australian card. The other thing that you can do is you could stick it like this, but the reason that I chose not to do that was I wanted to support this shelf, and by gluing it along this part of the spine, it's going to support it a lot better than it would have done. So think about that when you're coming up with new card shapes. And this really was me sitting with a piece of card going, right, what am I going to teach everybody? Because I want to show you something different and something new. So that's what I did. Okay, so thank you. So I said both, he bought me one. Oh, apparently couldn't find it. Well, whatever, it's fine. So glue is going to go down the outside edge on this piece that's the spine, that's important. Down this outside edge. Don't worry that the shelf has got a little gap in it and that's going to be open, and that because that glue will just dry itself. I'm going to go across the top there and across the bottom there. Then think about your opening, think about the way it's going to work, and it's going to go together like this. So I'm going to hold the top and line that panel up first and get that to catch, and then hold the bottom and line that panel up. And you know, I'm going to suggest that wet glue is a good idea, because what's happening at the moment is I'm getting a little bit of wiggle room, and it's helping me with what I'm planning and how I'm building this and putting it together. The other thing that I'm doing is I'm looking inside and making sure that that's parallel all the way in there because I want that to stay together. Now, another little trick that I thought we could do is you could cut yourself a small strip and put that over that end to make it neat. And in fact, I've got a piece there that would do that, so I could literally put that there. So let's do that because this will make it really sturdy. So I'm just going to take that piece, pop that over there and glue that in place and hold that down. So let's, for the purpose of real accuracy, let's go along here like this and we'll stick this down there like that. Okay, so now when we look at our card, we've got our shelf that's nicely proportioned and we've got a stepper. So we've got two places to be able to do some decoration. Now, and I have done what I just told you not to do. I've made my back to front. It's all right, you laughing, Andrew. Right, I'm not... So I'm going to put it right because it's going to upset me otherwise and it'll upset you even more. So let's take this off. I'm going to have to show you how to put this bit right. Oh, look, just when I've said, don't do that because it'll go wrong. And what's happened? Oh, I've done it wrong.
Good job you had wet glue.
Oh, yes. Thank you, Andrew. You're right. Oh, what would I have done if I didn't have wet glue? Oh, dear. And fancy that as well, after me telling everybody. Well, it just goes to show you that we all do it wrong, doesn't it? Right, it is this way. So, second go gives you the chance. The first one was just to practice on how not to do it. So we'll put it like this. And then let's line that all up again, like that. I bet you can't tell this went wrong when I finished it. I bet you won't ever know that it was wrong. Oh no, it's right. I was puzzled then completely. Did you see the look on my face? Completely puzzled. I'm thinking I've done it wrong again. I haven't, I've done it right this time. Right, so there we go. That's that piece, right? But we need to do something about this. Oh, let's stick it down. Do you know, it would have been, if I hadn't have done it wrong, it would have been perfect. Oops. You don't want to stick, do you? Not where I want you to stick. Come on. Right, so how are we going to tidy up this bit inside? Because that doesn't look good, does it? So I think what I'm going to do, instead of putting a small piece on to support the shelf, I would put a whole panel in here. So I would actually cut not just the piece here, but I would cut this whole panel and put it on. For now, I'm just going to stick this piece, but take yours all the way to the inside. So let's just put this on here. I wanted this to be perfect for you all as well. Oh dear. Another boo-boo. Right, so at least it opens the right way now. So like that, I'm just going to stick that down. Yeah, so there we go. And I've got a really nice shelf. Okay, so I've got my shelf. It opens the right way. It's not as tidy inside as we'd like, but we can start decorating. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little nail. I'm just going to trim the top of this because it isn't perfect. So I've got... There we go. I've only taken a little tiny bit off, but it wasn't perfect and it was bugging me. Right, so what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to start to decorate. So I'm going to put my my wireless on here, and I'm going to use some foam. And let's have a look at how this is going to go. So I've got my wireless I've got my biscuit tins. So first of all, I'm going to put the wireless on some quite chunky foam, so to get some depth, and I'm going to make this three-dimensional. So I'm going to lift off this piece, and I'm literally snipping into this part here, like that, and I'm going to put that on a piece of foam as well. And I'm using, gosh, this is quite thick, so I'm going to say it's a good 3 millimeters by, in fact, just to check that for you. Yes, it's just over 3 millimeters, so it started off as 4 mil, and it's 10 mil wide, so it's a centimetre wide. So I'm going to pop that there, and I'm using the tape to actually support some of these little cuts that I've got there. So I'm holding right to the very edge. Then this piece will sit over there like that. Now, just going to look at where that's going to go on the shelf. So I could even have it hung up. So I'm just going to pop that down. And then, in fact, before I do, let's take a look at where our biscuit tin is going to go. Now, I've got lots of these, and we've got them in different sizes. So I could have one at the front, and my wireless to the back. I could put this tin behind and the lid to the front. I think I'm going to go slightly smaller because I think that looks better on the step like I've got there. I'm going to then have my dog collar and my lead hanging off the shelf that I've got here. So I've got those as if they're on a little hook. So let's put that there as if it's going into the distance. So we'll put you on. So just so that you can see everything, I'm leaning quite in here. So excuse me doing that, but I want to be able to get this. I'm going to put it just there. So it's just fading into the distance. So I've not put it flat on the shelf because of the angle that we're at. I'm going to put my dog collar and my lead. I'm going to have 2 leads and pretend with dogs I've got more than one dog. So, well, I have got more than one dog. I don't know how many you've got, but I've got one. So let's put this here. So we'll put a lead there and another one there. So I've got 2 of them just hanging like that. Then I'm going to put the dog collar as if that's just hanging there on a little hook. And I'm going to make a little hook from this piece. So I'm going to take that and, whoops, where's it gone? There it is. And make this into my little hook. So only just thought that I could do that, but it's a good idea, so I want to do it. So look, you can see I've made that into a little hook. So let's put that onto there. So that's hooked on. In fact, I could cut some more and have some more hooks on there, couldn't I? But we'll have that one as it is. Let's put our biscuit tin down here so that we've got that over there. So again, quite a decent piece of foam against the design. I've got that's where I was sewing earlier. Just taking that piece off. Oops. And pop that. Oh, can I just say I've been really impressed with everybody's cushions. Oh my God, wow. You guys are brilliant. I've seen some fantastic projects. And been also recording some stuff for you as well, like how to make shopper bags on my way and stuff like that. So that's quite, I hope you find quite interesting. So there's our biscuit tin. So let's have a look so far at how our card's looking. So remember, the back opens up to make it stand up. So we've got all of our detail. Let's have a quick little look at it. Yep, I'm liking that. Just going to take this and I'm just going to lift it and move it the tiniest little bit to that end so that it's over the edge of the shelf want it over the edge, which it is, and then I've got that. Right, I've got all these little creatures. So I'm going to have a little snail, and he's going to be crawling along the front of the shelf. So I'm just going to put a tiny bit of glue along his body, and he's going to go right there on the edge of the shelf. So I'll just stick him down. Take a minute. There he is. Then I'm going to put my butterflies, and I'm just going to shape them a little bit and decide where the butterfly is going to go. I can't decide whether he's going to, yes, he's going to be on the radio. He's come here to listen to the music. So I'm just going to put him there. So I've shaped his wings. Let's put him, and he actually helps it look more dimensional because he's on the front of the radio and his wing goes back into the distance, it makes him look even more interesting. And then, apart from us putting the foliage in our shed, there's our shelf that we've done. And you've got loads of other little creatures that you could have. You could have a couple of little snails in here if you wanted to. Actually, I've got an empty snail shell. I think I'm going to put that one down here. So let's put this on a little bit of foam so this one stands out as well. So I'll just get a small square and let's put that there, shape that with my fingers and go round, and I'm just going to pop that to the front there. So a little empty snail shell. So we swapped houses. And then just want, what am I going to have for foliage? Could just have a bit of ivy, couldn't I? So I've got some ivy here. Just put a little bit of ivy down there. Yes, that's it. So we'll use the foam because this will stick. And I've only got wet glue because Andrew only fetched me wet glue. I'm just going to put that on there. This bit. Oops, just get you there. And considering a while ago, I had no idea what I was going to do with the snail, because when these were designed, they were designed as a collection and we had some extra designs. And I was like, no, let's do them anyway. And we did them because I thought we could do something fun with them. And I'm absolutely sure we can, and we have. So all that's ready for now is maybe our little birds to make their bird's nest in the actual box. Do you know what? I can't wait for that to happen. I think we've got to do it now. Let me go into my other dies and see what I can find. We find some little, oh, I know what we could do. We could put a little mouse in. How about we put one of our little mice? Oh, how cute would that be? And let's find something else we could have growing in there. We could have some flowers. So we could have these just, oh, I love it. I love, love, love it. Let's put those as if they are growing in our tin. Right, so the way we're going to do this is I'm just going to put this straight onto the top. So let's use a little bit of wet glue. I'll use that. I'll stick it just here as if it is growing out of the tin. You know, like you get those, you go to garden centres and they do these sort of collections where everything's in a container and and it's seasonal. We imagine that that's what this is. So let's have a look now. Yeah, that's it. There you go. There is our finished project. But you could still have the little birds nesting in the tin. That would look just as cute. Until next time, thank you all so much. It's so good to have your company. I'll see you all soon. Don't forget, leave your comments and visit us at highlightcrafts.com.